Day 5. Full pads, real contact. And the Cleveland Browns training camp just got turned completely upside down. Everything before today was glorified flag football. Shorts, helmets, 7-on-7 drills where nobody gets touched and everybody looks like a franchise quarterback. But today the pads came on. Today bodies started colliding. Today we finally got to see what these quarterbacks look like when the pressure is real, when the rush is coming, when one wrong read means you are eating grass. And what happened in the final minutes of this practice is going to have every single person in that building replaying it in their heads tonight. One quarterback took the field for the 2-minute drill with the entire first-team offense around him. Every weapon, every advantage, and came away with absolutely nothing. Then another quarterback stepped up with the second unit, fewer reps all day, fewer weapons, and did something that had reporters on the sideline calling it the play of camp. Right now, before we break this whole thing down, drop a football emoji in the comments if you think this quarterback competition is already decided. I want to see where your head is at before you hear what actually went down out there today. This is Gridiron ground, and what I am about to tell you might just change how you see this entire Browns season.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
Listen, if you have been following this training camp from day one, you already know the first 4 practices gave us glimpses. Little moments here and there. A nice throw. A bad interception. Some chatter from reporters about body language and huddle presence. But none of that truly mattered until today because the first 4 days of this camp were played in shorts and helmets. That is not football. That is a passing exhibition where defensive linemen cannot rush with intent, linebackers cannot deliver real hits, and quarterbacks get to stand tall in a clean pocket with 0 consequences for holding the ball too long. Day 5 changed all of that. The moment those pads snapped on this morning, the entire energy at that facility shifted. You could hear it. You could feel it. Offensive linemen firing off the ball with bad intentions. Defensive ends bending corners and getting after the quarterback for real. Linebackers filling gaps and delivering contact that makes receivers think twice about running routes over the middle. This is the day where pretenders get separated from contenders. This is the day where a quarterback either rises to the moment or shrinks from it. And what makes this particular Day 5 so critical for the Cleveland Browns is the context surrounding it. This franchise is sitting at a crossroads that will define the next half-decade of football in this city. The quarterback competition between Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, and Gabriel is not some manufactured media storyline. It is real. It is happening every single day on that practice field. And the coaching staff has gone on record saying they are going to let the players decide who wins this job with their performance. Not politics, not contracts, not draft capital. Performance. So when the pads came on today and the intensity went from practice mode to something resembling actual game speed, every single rep mattered more than anything we saw in the first 4 days combined. If you are new to Gridiron ground, this is what we do here. We do not cherry-pick one highlight and pretend the whole story revolves around it. We give you the full picture, the honest breakdown, and the real analysis that helps you understand what is actually happening with your team. Subscribe right now and turn on notifications because training camp coverage like this is dropping every single day, and you do not want to miss what comes next. Now with the stage set and the pads on, let me tell you what Deshaun Watson did with his opportunity today, because credit needs to go where credit is earned. Here is something that does not get said enough about Deshaun Watson in this training camp. The man is fighting. Whatever you think about his contract, whatever you think about his history over the last few years, whatever narrative you have already built in your head about how this competition should end, you cannot deny that Watson came out on Day 5 with a different look in his eyes. He had the first team reps again today. That has been the structure throughout camp. Watson gets the ones. He gets the scripted plays. He gets the best receivers, the best offensive linemen, the full first team operation built around him. And today he used that platform to deliver his most competitive performance of the week. No interceptions on the day. That alone is worth noting because the first few days of camp had multiple reports from independent trackers and beat reporters documenting Watson's struggles with consistency and turnovers, balls thrown into coverage, reads that came a beat too late, moments where you could see the rust from everything he has been through over the past couple of seasons showing up in real time. But day 5, Watson looked like a man who had gone home after day 4, looked in the mirror, and decided he was not going to let this competition slip away without a fight. There was more urgency in how he broke the huddle, more command in how he called the plays at the line. You could see him rallying the guys around him, clapping hands, pointing out assignments, bringing an energy that felt genuinely elevated from what we had seen in the early practices. And for the bulk of the team periods today, Watson was solid. Not spectacular, not making jaw-dropping throws that had reporters scrambling for their phones, but solid, efficient, functional. He moved the offense. He got the ball out. He avoided the catastrophic mistakes that had been piling up earlier in the week. And that matters because in a competition like this, where the coaching staff is evaluating every single rep, cleaning up mistakes is just as important as making highlight plays. Watson understood the assignment today. He knew he needed to stop the bleeding. He knew the narrative around camp was starting to shift in a direction that did not favor him. And he responded with his most disciplined day of work so far. That deserves respect regardless of where you stand on this competition. But here is the part that Watson supporters might not want to hear, and I am going to give it to you straight because that is the only way we operate on this channel. A clean day from Watson is not the same thing as a dominant day. And what was lurking beneath the surface of his performance today tells a very different story than the one his highlight reel would suggest.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
For everything Watson did right today, there were problems that you simply cannot ignore if you are being honest about this evaluation. And the biggest one has nothing to do with his arm talent or his ability to throw the football. It has everything to do with the one thing a veteran quarterback is supposed to own completely: the pre-snap operation. Multiple reporters who were standing on that sideline today documented the same thing. Todd Monken was visibly frustrated with the number of pre-snap penalties coming from Watson's first team unit. Guys lining up in the wrong spot, the huddle breaking late, alignments getting corrected after the offense was already set, penalties before the ball was even snapped. And listen, some people are going to say that is not all on the quarterback. Offensive linemen need to know where to line up. Receivers need to know their splits. The whole unit shares responsibility for pre-snap discipline. That is true, but here is the reality that Watson cannot escape. When you are the veteran quarterback, the guy with years of NFL experience, the guy who is supposed to be the steadying presence that holds the entire operation together, pre-snap chaos is your failure. That is your domain. That is the one area where experience is supposed to give you an undeniable advantage over every younger quarterback in the room. You are supposed to see the defense, recognize the look, get your guys aligned, and have the whole offense operating like a machine before the center even touches the ball. If the first team unit under Watson looks confused and undisciplined at the line of scrimmage, that undercuts the single strongest argument for giving him this job. His experience becomes meaningless if it does not translate to a clean, organized, well-run offense at the point of attack. And that was not the only issue working against Watson's case today. Jerry Jeudy was dropping footballs again. Now, if you have been rocking with Gridiron ground for any amount of time, you already know we have covered the Jeudy situation extensively. The talent is obvious. The hands have been a problem. And today those hands betrayed Watson at moments where completions would have padded his stat line and strengthened his case in this competition. When your top receivers are putting catchable balls on the ground, your efficiency numbers take a hit regardless of how well you actually threw the football. That is not entirely Watson's fault, but it shows up on the evaluation sheet. It factors into the completion percentages. And when the coaching staff is sitting in the film room tonight comparing what each quarterback did with their opportunities, Watson's numbers are going to reflect those drops whether he likes it or not. The combination of pre-snap penalties and receiver drops painted a picture of a first-team offense that is not operating at the level you would expect from the starting unit 5 days into camp. And while Watson himself showed improvement in his individual play, the operation around him still has significant issues that need to be resolved quickly. You know what I always say, if you are watching this and you are not yet subscribed to Gridiron Ground, you are missing the most honest Browns coverage on this platform. Hit that subscribe button right now because I promise you no one else is breaking this camp down with this level of detail and zero filter. Now, before we get to the moment everybody is waiting for, there is another quarterback in this competition who quietly had a day worth talking about, and his name is not the one you are expecting. This is the part of the conversation that a lot of Browns fans skip right over because everybody is so locked in on the Watson versus Sanders debate that the third man in the room becomes invisible. But Gabriel was not invisible today, and pretending he would be dishonest. Gabriel came out in his team period reps and did something that has been quietly building over the first 5 days of this camp. He played within himself. He stepped into throws with confidence. He connected with receivers on timing routes that showed legitimate rhythm and anticipation. There were moments today where Gabriel delivered the ball to guys like Cedric Tillman and David Njoku with the kind of accuracy and decisiveness that makes a coaching staff pay attention. Not the biggest arm, not the flashiest throws, but clean, efficient, functional quarterback play that moved the chains and kept the offense on schedule. And here is the part that really matters. Todd Monken was asked by reporters about Gabriel standing in this competition, and Monken did not dismiss him. He did not give some generic coach speak answer about everybody getting a fair shot. He specifically said that Gabriel has maximized his reps and earned more opportunity. That is on the record. That is a head coach publicly acknowledging that the third quarterback in this competition has done enough with his limited chances to warrant additional first-team work. That is not nothing, Browns fans. That is a real development in how this camp is being structured. Now, let me be real with you because that is what we do here. Gabriel is not going to win this job. The ceiling is not there. The physical tools do not match what Watson and Sanders bring to the table in terms of raw ability and playmaking potential. But what Gabriel is doing is applying pressure from underneath. He is making it so that the coaching staff cannot just hand this job to Watson by default, because there is a guy in that room proving every day that competence and preparation matter just as much as talent. The rep tracker from day 5 tells an interesting story when you lay it all out. Watson took 13 of 25 team period reps. That is the lion's share. That is what you expect from the guy running with the first team offense. Gabriel was at 7 of 12. A smaller sample, but he made those reps count. Shedeur Sanders took 8 completions out of 16 reps working with the second team unit. And here is where the math starts to get really interesting for anybody paying close attention to this competition. Watson is getting the most reps by design. He is getting the best players around him by design. He is getting the scripted plays that are built to succeed by design. Sanders is getting fewer reps, fewer weapons, and running with a second team unit against a defense that still has talented players flying around making plays. And despite that disparity in volume and support, Sanders is doing things with his limited opportunities that are generating more conversation, more excitement, and more attention than anything Watson is producing with his larger share of the work. That gap between opportunity and output is the single most important data point in this entire competition. And what happened next would prove that beyond any possible argument. There is something about Shedeur Sanders that separates him from almost every young quarterback who has come through a training camp competition like this one. Most young guys need volume. They need 25, 30 reps to find their rhythm, to get comfortable, to shake off the bad throws and settle into a groove. Sanders does not operate that way. This man treats every single rep like it is the fourth quarter of a playoff game. There is no warm-up period. There is no feeling out process. From the moment he steps into the huddle, you can see it in his eyes, in his body language, in the way he commands the attention of every player around him. He is locked in from rep one. And that mentality is exactly what makes what happened at the end of today's practice so significant. Because the 2-minute drill that closed out day 5 was not just another period on the practice schedule. It was the moment of truth. The scenario every quarterback dreams about. Clock running, field to cover. The entire team watching to see who can deliver when everything is on the line. Watson's unit took the field first with the full first-team offense around him, every weapon available, every advantage the coaching staff could give him, and his unit went 4 and out. Nothing, no points, no momentum. The defense won that possession cleanly and convincingly. Watson could not move the football when it mattered most.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
And on the final play of his series, something happened that added an extra layer of frustration to an already empty drive. Casey Compton, the first-round rookie receiver, came down awkwardly on a play and landed on his shoulder. The good news is that Compton was later reported to be fine. The shoulder issue was not serious, and he is expected to be back on the field with no problems. But in that moment, Watson's 2-minute drill ended with his offense producing nothing and his top rookie receiver walking off the field with trainers. That is not the image you want burned into the coaching staff's memory heading into film review. That is not the final impression you want to leave on a day where you needed to prove that you are still the guy who should be leading this team. Now picture the scene. Watson's unit just went 4 and out. The practice is winding down. Reporters are on the sideline with their notebooks and cameras, and Shedeur Sanders jogs onto the field with the second-team offense, starting from his own 25-yard line. No fanfare, no crowd noise because this was a media-only day. Just the quiet hum of a practice facility and the weight of a moment that was about to change the entire conversation around this competition. What Sanders did next left everyone in that building searching for words. First play of the drive. Sanders takes the snap, reads the coverage, and immediately identifies something that most quarterbacks would not even process in real time. Denzel Boston is running a deep route down the field, and the cornerback covering him has his back completely turned to the football. A lot of quarterbacks see that and check down. They see tight coverage, they see a defender in position, and they move to the next read because the risk is not worth it. Sanders sees something entirely different. He sees an opportunity. He fires the ball to a spot where one of 3 things is going to happen. Either Boston comes down with the catch, the defender commits pass interference trying to recover, or there is a holding call on the coverage. Any of those outcomes is a first down. That is not reckless. That is not a prayer thrown into double coverage by a young quarterback who does not know any better. That is a calculated decision by a quarterback who understands the rule book, understands leverage, and understands how to use the officiating framework as a weapon in his favor. The flag came out. Pass interference. First down. Drive alive. Just like that, Sanders had momentum and he was not about to let it go. From there, he found Tylan Wallace on a throw down the left sideline that required Wallace to make a circus catch. The ball was placed in a spot where Wallace had to go up over the back of cornerback D'Angelo Ross, adjust his body in midair, and pluck the football at its highest point. Not the cleanest throw in terms of pure placement, but Wallace made the play, and that is part of what makes Sanders effective. He puts his receivers in positions where they can use their athleticism to win contested situations. Big play. Huge gain. The drive was now deep into scoring territory. And then came the moment that had grown men on the sideline losing their composure. Sanders dropped back, read the coverage one final time, and delivered a fade route down the right sideline to Gage Larvadain that multiple beat reporters from major Cleveland outlets called the play of the entire camp so far. The placement was perfect. Larvadain had beaten cornerback Michael Coates Jr. off the line, and Sanders put the ball in a spot where only his receiver could catch it. High. Outside. falling right into the breadbasket. Touchdown. Walk-off. Practice over. The second-team offense under Shedeur Sanders had just driven the length of the field and scored a touchdown to end the day, while the first-team offense under Watson had gone 4 and out in the exact same situation minutes earlier. Multiple reporters documented the reactions on the sideline. This was not a quiet acknowledgement. This was players and staff visibly reacting to what they had just witnessed. Scott Petrak from Browns Zone called it the play of the day outright. No hedging. No qualifiers. The play of the day belonged to Shedeur Sanders, and that moment carries weight that extends far beyond one practice because of something Todd Monken said earlier in camp that now echoes louder than ever. Monken has been saying all camp long that the players are going to decide this quarterback competition with their play, not the front office, not the media, not the fan base. The players on the field making plays in the moments that matter. Well, Day 5 gave him exactly the kind of evidence that makes decisions easier. But the quarterback competition was not the only statement made at the Browns facility today. Because while the offense was sorting out its identity, the new face of the Cleveland defense sat down with reporters and delivered a message that every single Browns fan needs to hear. Jared Verse, the defensive end the Browns acquired from the Los Angeles Rams when they traded Myles Garrett, was asked directly about the pressure of replacing one of the most dominant defensive players in franchise history. And the way Verse answered that question told you everything you need to know about what this team is building on the defensive side of the football. He acknowledged Garrett immediately and gave him full respect. He said you can make a very real case that Myles Garrett is one of the greatest defensive players who has ever played this game. No ego, no dismissiveness, just genuine respect for the man whose shadow he is now stepping into. But then Verse made it clear that he is not here to be the next Myles Garrett. He is not here to chase sack numbers. He is not here to accumulate Pro Bowl selections and All-Pro honors. He said all of that stuff is cool, but it is not why he came to Cleveland. He said he is here to change the standard of defense. He is here to change what is happening in this building and in this city. And then he said something that stopped everybody in that room cold. He said he keeps hearing people call this a rebuild. And he said, let me make this very clear. This is not a rebuild. He is not here to sit around for 6 months and enjoy Cleveland life. He is here to win. And the entire organization is right behind him on that. He said he can stand on that with everything he has. That statement matters more than people realize right now. This is a man who just won a Super Bowl ring with the Rams. A man who earned Defensive Rookie of the Year honors in a league full of extraordinary young talent. And he walked into Berea, looked every reporter in the eye, and said on the record with zero hesitation that this franchise is not rebuilding. This franchise is competing to win right now. And it was not just Verse sending that message. Jimmy Haslam and managing partner J.W. Johnson both came out around the same time and reinforced the same philosophy. The goal is to compete and win consistently, not to develop for 2 or 3 years and hope that eventually the pieces fall into place. From ownership to the defensive end spot, the messaging is unified. This team believes it can win now. If you have made it this far into this breakdown, then you already know Gridiron Ground gives you the kind of analysis that nobody else on this platform is delivering. If you are not subscribed, yet you are genuinely missing out on the most detailed, most honest, most real Browns coverage available anywhere. Hit that subscribe button. Join the family. You will not regret it.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
Now here is why Verse's statement connects directly to the quarterback decision that is looming over this entire training camp. Everything Jared Verse said about competing now and refusing to accept a rebuild mentality applies direct pressure to the most important decision this coaching staff will make all year. Who is the starting quarterback? You cannot have your best defensive player standing in front of cameras declaring that this team is here to win right now, while the offensive side of the ball remains stuck in a murky competition that has no clear resolution in sight. At some point very soon, this roster deserves clarity. The offensive linemen deserve to know whose blind side they are protecting. The receivers deserve to know whose timing and rhythm they need to sync with. The running backs deserve to know whose cadence they are listening to at the line of scrimmage. The whole operation deserves a clear answer so that the preparation can shift from competition mode to championship mode. And here is where the defensive dominance from day 5 connects to the quarterback evaluation in a way that most people are not talking about. The defensive line had a monster day today. Verse, Mason Graham, Tyson Campbell, these guys were winning individual matchups all over the field. They were getting pressure in team periods. They were making life difficult for every single quarterback who stepped behind center regardless of which unit they were running with. Multiple reporters from the official Browns site and independent beat reporters all agreed that the defensive front was the most impressive position group on the field today. That level of defensive talent changes the math on what you need from your quarterback. A team that can win games 14-10, a team that can hold opponents to 17 points and force 3 turnovers, does not need a quarterback who throws for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns every Sunday. It needs a quarterback who is smart, efficient, who protects the football, who makes the 1 or 2 explosive plays per game that swing close contests in your favor. A quarterback who thrives in the clutch, who delivers in 2-minute drills, who does not need 35 attempts to impact the game but can take his 8 to 16 opportunities and turn them into moments that change outcomes. That profile fits Shedeur Sanders naturally based on everything we have seen from him both last season and throughout this training camp. The injury updates from day 5 are also worth monitoring as we head toward the preseason schedule. Linebacker Carson Schwessinger missed his 2nd straight practice with a minor injury. The team is being cautious, and there is no indication of anything serious. Cornerback Miles Bryant left practice early with the training staff. Offensive lineman Tevin Jenkins continues to miss time with KT Leon filling in at his spot. None of these appear to be major concerns based on what has been reported, but in a stretch of 6 practices in 6 days leading into the first preseason game, every single player missing time is a development worth tracking. The picture is becoming clearer with every day that passes in this camp, and the decisions that need to be made are approaching faster than some people might be comfortable with. So here is where things stand after day 5, Browns fans. Deshaun Watson came out with more energy and more fight than we had seen in the early days of camp. He avoided interceptions. He showed urgency. He competed. But pre-snap penalties, receiver drops, and a 4-and-out 2-minute drill that produced absolutely nothing when the moment demanded a response all work against his case in ways that cannot be ignored. Shedeur Sanders worked with fewer reps, fewer weapons, and a second team unit that does not have the same talent surrounding it. And despite every structural disadvantage the coaching staff could put in front of him, he closed out the day with a touchdown drive that had every reporter in the building calling it the defining moment of camp so far. Gabriel earned respect and additional reps through his consistency and preparation. Jard Verse told the entire football world that this franchise is not rebuilding and that he is here to win immediately. And Todd Monken said the players would decide this competition with their play. Well, today the players spoke. Today the results were documented, time-stamped, and witnessed by everyone who matters in that organization. This is Gridiron ground. We do not sugarcoat. We do not play favorites. We give you the truth about your team every single day. Drop your take in the comments right now. Is the competition already over after that walk-off drive, or does Watson still have time to turn this around? Subscribe if you have not already and share this with every Browns fan who needs to hear what really happened on day 5.